Brother Avery. All right. So first of all, I'd like to add, I don't know how many of you follow Facebook nor how closely you follow Facebook. I assume it's most. I would like to add, I found out that today is actually World Naked Gardening Day. I don't know what correlation that should actually hold, but I thought it was funny, so I thought I might add it. And speaking of...
Darn, I did my gardening yesterday, so...
Speaking of naturalists, that's actually what nudists are called in Britain, interestingly enough.
Gardeners?
Brothers and guests, thank you for coming tonight. I would like to explain briefly the event at which we are gathered, and the traditional toast that I will make momentarily, originating just before the turn of 1900. The Phi Gamma Delta Pig Dinner is the longest continuously running tradition in the entire Greek system, with every chapter of Phi Gamma Delta celebrating this event annually. The year is 1893, and the location is the University of California. Class Day is a big deal at Berkeley, and there's a competition between various fraternities on campus and speeches by seniors, and there's a great honor to participate in the musical entertainment called the Glee Club, which is part of the chorus, part chorus, part cheerleading. The Deeks and Betas monopolized the Glee Club with the Master of Ceremonies for the Class Day banquet was a Fiji named Ralph Hawthorne. He decides to take a shot at the other two fraternities, so he gets a big barrel and labels it UFC Glee Club. Ties a rope around it labeled with the names of the two fraternities and had a stranglehold on the organization. That had a stranglehold on the organization. Inside the barrel, he had put a live pig to symbolize the singing ability of these two fraternities. And he put the barrel on stage in front of the entire student body and tipped it over, letting the squealing pig escape. Hawthorne led a huge laugh as the pig burst out from the barrel, runs into the audience. And some say the pig escaped and was pursued by Fiji's with murderous intent. At any rate, that night the suckling pig was incarcerated at the chapter house on Dana Street in Berkeley. Frank Norris, Berkeley, 1894, wrote an elaborate mock ceremony, and 20 Fijis made the Delta realm resound with all hail the pig. Hawthorne, as master of ceremonies, then called upon every member to present every member present to renew his bond of allegiance, fidelity, and allegiance, and to seal his vow on the bended knee by the solemn ordeal of kissing the pig's snout. After the banquet, at the break of dawn, Frank Norris was inspired to propose that they perpetuate the memory of the occasion by hosting an annual graduate pig dinner. Each year after that, on the night before the big homecoming game with Stanford, California, Berkeley, and Stanford, a huge gathering was held at the Poodle Dog. The Poodle Dog was the restaurant where the equivalent of this very hall itself, only in California, in downtown San Francisco until it burned down in the Great Fire of 1906. The pig dinner tradition spread throughout Fiji land and came to be known as the Frank Norris Pig Dinner until his untimely death. 2 years after, he actually wrote the speech, or the Exile's Toast, that I will read to you in a moment. By the time of his death, Frank Norris was one of the most celebrated authors in the United States, if not the world, having already published several novels. Brother Norris wrote an Exile's Toast in the year 1900 and died 2 years later. He was too ill to actually travel to the event itself. Listen to the toast carefully. It was written in a German idiomatic dialect. It's going to be difficult to understand, and I apologize. It's tough for me to even read, and it's going to be a blast. I look forward to it. I hope that I will get a couple laughs as we go along. As politically incorrect as it may seem, the toast is a poignant piece of writing. It mentions Ralph Hawthorne, and many other of Frank Norris's chapter brothers in the Poodle Dog restaurant. So if you hear me say their poodle, that was essentially the equivalent of this hall itself. Here we go. It's my honor to present to you the Exiles Toast. And let me just add before I do so, that was all written for me. I want to add, Jimmy White is Jimmy White. Their Gibbs his last name is Gibbs. Hethorn is Hawthorne. Henderson, Volley every bit was he was a news reporter, and he knew every bit was the idea. Their poodle was, I mentioned already, and I wanted to add Lutz Hall was a dance hall at the time. So 110 years ago, look back in San Francisco, Lutz Hall was where they would dance. Here we go. Gesundheit. Ach, mein lieber friends, dort not she come today. You're dining by their poodle in their same old jolly way. While me, ach Gott, du lieber Gott, I sit me down and wept, that your kind invitationing I cannot yet accept. Their poodle, do and I know their place, say blind mine eyes up tight, when stand me by their plaza on, I find their house all right. Their glassware I've gebroken there, their spoons I have gestole, their whiskey Jimmy White have drunk from us the sugar bowl. Ach, those were the days, their Gibbs he knows, and Marsh he knows it too, and Hawthorne, he could remember just a little thing or two. And that boy, Ernie Henderson, his little put omoy, he never sets his schooner down until he's drunk or dry. And also, Bali every bit, who always knows it all. When Gibbon's love of women, he leads Shermans at Lund's Hall. When then ach hoch der Battlen, there is their soldier man, the terror of their Spaniards in their charge of San Juan. Their awful Captain Selfridge, he's a howling martinet. I've spoken to him. That's their cap. He loves those again. When Brooksy Baumler, he comes through, the quiet little boy, they calls him when he's very good, they're sewing circles for him. They go, when Humphreys, he's their sly one, when he knows their history, when every Fiji chapter in their land from sea to sea, when Philly Schmidt and Emery, they does their little stunts, verluten mit their younger set every Saturday at once. Hi all you grads, you lucky grads, who this Thanksgiving Day can stop at home, just think of us, their exiles far away. There's Chunky in Geneva, and there's Corbett in Paris, when Doodle gone to New Orleans and Indianapolis, there's me. When Houston's in St. Louis, when there's Rathers, God knows fair, we sits and waits and watches, when grown and hair their hair. We reckons with the difference in their time with everyone. We says out loud, they have kicked off, their games have just begun. When we ain't there to see it played, when we ain't there to yell, when we ain't there to see their team just kick them out of hell. Well, when you all sit down to eat their poodle lunch, you all just fancy that we're with you in their brunch. Here's to their team, by God stand up. This ain't no usual drink. Stand up, hands round. Between us all, it's their common link. Stand up, it's their exiles toast. We'll meet you all today. we're back once more in their old plants and back again to stay. Stand up from east and west. We've come to be with you. We're dining at their poodle just as once we used to do. This day we show our colors and let all their eagles scream. We're dining at their poodle and we're drinking to their team. Cheers! Very fraternally. Frank Norris, Jacob Balkos. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me tonight.